What is MIDI? And what's the difference between MIDI and audio? Hi, I'm Jules and welcome to Digital Rat Gear, where we bring you reviews and tips about digital rat gear for music production. Today we're going to talk about audio and MIDI. This is a video inspired by a comment from one of my regular viewers, one of our colleagues in this journey. So thank you very much for your comments. Please pop in comments below. I read them all. There's not that many, so please check them out and put a comment in there. I will hopefully be able to respond like this video, which is addressing a question about MIDI and the difference between MIDI and audio. Before we go on, please hit the like and subscribe button. The majority of viewers of this channel are not subscribers, so I'd love for you to subscribe. I can then let you know when we've got more content coming, and you can be alerted as to when videos are released, and we can keep in touch. As well as that, I'd love to get that to that 1,000 subscriber mark so we can actually set up a community page. That way I can keep in more contact with you, let you know what videos are coming and so on. So that would be great. So hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, please hit the like button and let's get on with the show. So what is MIDI? And what is the difference between MIDI and audio? So let's address audio first and then go to MIDI. Audio is effectively an analog signal carried through very, very, very low levels of voltage, representing the amplitude of the waves in a linear fashion using very passive voltage. So you'd be familiar with a TRS or phono cable, same thing. As it turns out, behind you, here is a phono cable, normal 1/4 inch phono. And I have two of them because this is for a keyboard. So your phono cable is carrying an analog output out of your keyboard. It is the audio signal generated by that keyboard or that guitar or that bass, and you may be plugging that into an amplifier, a mixer, your sound card, wherever. And that's you're going to be amplifying that signal or recording that signal. And it is analog information, i.e. it's not just zeros and ones, it is a whole bevy of information or values representing the waveform that is what you hear. That's the best I think I can do to describe analog audio. MIDI, on the other hand, is a digital communication. Musical instrument digital interface was created in the early 80s. The standard was established in about 83 and was largely, was a collaboration between a number of industry leaders, and I think largely initiated by Dave Smith of Dave Smith Instruments, or Sequential Circuits as it was known at the time. MIDI is like a piano roll. It's a set of instructions that say, here's a note starting this value here at this amplitude or this velocity, and play that note. And now the note is stopping. It also can carry other information such as modulation, volume, velocity, and a couple of other things as well. That is the essence of MIDI. It is note on, note off, plus other note-related information. Now, you can also use MIDI to bulk dump information or patches in your device to some sort of backup mechanism. So MIDI can be used for transactional or song note-related information, or it can be used as a backup mechanism. Both are sets of digital instructions, effectively. And next in this video, we're going to have a look at what that looks like. So you can picture MIDI, see what it looks like, and that way you've got a pretty good foundation for understanding that is MIDI and that is audio. So, on with the next step. I'm using the Prophet 12 desktop and a modulation pedal. If we were to change patches, as I just have on the Prophet, you'll see it generates patch data in the monitor. And
I think that's terrific, just from a diagnosis perspective, so you can actually tell what's going on. And of course, the newer the gear, the better off this is going to be.
So here's an example of the modulation pedal, and you can see the MIDI values as the modulation pedal is changed. Great Boss modulation pedal, by the way. I love this modulation pedal. It feels solid, it's compact. Killer product, Boss. Thank you very, very much.
Have this parameter for your controller. Change patch to that. So MIDI is the instruction set that says, here is a Prophet 12, selecting patch 7, user bank 2, user bank 2, and here are a bunch of settings associated with it. So that is what MIDI is. This is the information behind MIDI. It is, I think, a hexadecimal format. And clever people such as Dave Smith, who created the Prophet 12, along with the head of Roland and I think possibly Korg, came up with this, had an agreement amongst them as to a musical instrument digital interface that they would share in the ability to send and receive messages. And that helps describe also what MIDI is. Now, another example of that would be a note, some note changes. So let's give a demo of that.
And we're now using also a Casio CZ101 to trigger notes.
Now you'll see velocity 0, velocity 64. So when I press a note, you'll see the velocity on, and then you'll see the note velocity 0. Also, just as a note, the CZ101 does not have velocity sensitivity, so therefore the velocity is the same for every note, 64, middle of the road for 127 maximum. Because this is the way the keyboard works, it's not velocity sensitive, therefore it's the same velocity for every note. But if you had a velocity sensitive keyboard, that velocity number would change. And if you had a more modern keyboard, you might then get a note off message as well. So that is what MIDI looks like out of the CZ101.
I'm using midi-quest here and the functionality within midi-quest, which is a MIDI monitor. No, this video is not sponsored. I don't have any sponsorships on this channel. I pay for everything, so this is paid for, and whether midi-quest is right for you is completely up to you. I will cover a video in future about midi-quest and what I get out of it, what I don't get out of it, the unvarnished review of midi-quest. So hopefully that'll let you know whether that software is right for you. In the meantime, allow me to use this software to demonstrate what MIDI looks like. I hope you found this of value. Thank you for staying to the end. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit subscribe, and I will look forward to bringing you more digital rack gear over the forthcoming weeks. And until then, have a great week.